I was excited to get a hold of this amplifier because this amplifier on paper had a lot of the functionality that I wish the A14 Mark II had. It's just missing a few things. My name is Taps. This is 0102 Studio, and this is a review of the Rotel S14 streaming integrated amplifier. The A14 Mark II is an 80 watt per channel Class AB integrated amplifier. It includes analog, digital, PC USB with MQA, wireless aptX, AAC Bluetooth, and a moving magnet phono stage. The Rotel S14 is also an 80 watt per channel Class AB amplifier. It includes one analog input, digital, PC USB, MQA, wireless aptX and AAC Bluetooth, LP art on the front display, and no moving magnet phono stage. The A14 retails for $2,000. The S14 retails for $2,500. These are not entry-level components. I feel like I've ran Rotel's industrial design through the mud a little bit, so I'm going to try to be a bit nicer here. And having had the A14 in and having the 15 series in, I kind of knew what to expect already. And it's more of the same with this amplifier. It very much looks like a Rotel product. The only difference is here, instead of like that clock radio display that they have on the front of their amplifiers, now it's a full color display. It's not the most high resolution display, and it still has that weird black frame surround, and it's an uneven black frame surround around the display. I'm sure there's a technical reason as to why they did it, but it would look a lot better if do you need the black surround, or can you just have like the metal part just enclosed over top of the display so it just doesn't look like a big black rectangle with a small LCD display inside? That would be my main nitpick. But on a positive note, build quality wise, this piece is solid. It really feels like you get what you pay for. You get all $2,500 in this. You get a solid metal chassis, brushed metal faceplate, substantial knobs. It just feels so robust, and it feels like a lot of care went into this product. I normally have a heart for silver components, but in Rotel's case, getting the S14 in here in black, I wholly recommend Rotel's components in black. It just looks better. I think maybe it hides some of the industrial chunky-ish design of the amplifier, and it just looks altogether better in black. The remote is friggin' incredible. I've trashed Rotel's remotes in the past, and this one just makes me eat all my words. If Rotel's going to do anything going forward industrial design-wise, do this. Just replace all your remotes with this one. I get it has less functionality on it. It's a smaller remote, but it's all metal. It's small. It feels substantial in your hand. It feels really nice to have. Like, I always just carried it around with me when I was walking around. It just feels really, really good. Please, please, please use this style of remote going forward. Connection-wise, you get one set of RCAs, one coaxial, one optical at 12-bit 192 kHz, PC USB 24-bit 384 kHz, a network input, a USB for updates, pre-out, sub-out, and a single set of speaker terminals. Spotify is built in, as is Chromecast and AirPlay, Bluetooth aptX HD, and it has support for MQA and MQA Studio at 24-bit 384 kHz. The S14 comes packed with 3 antennas, 1 for Bluetooth and 2 for Wi-Fi. And unusually, no triggers. The S14 also has tone controls. Setup should be dead easy, unless you're me. I mean, you unbox it, you put it on your shelf, you connect everything you need to, and you're off to the races. Except I couldn't figure out how to turn this thing on. And it turns out, after referring to the manual, you have to hold the power button and then it turns on. And there's also a power switch on the back of the unit that I just totally forgot about. And so you have to make sure the whole thing's on and then hold the power button on the remote or on the unit itself, and then the unit turns on. Rotel does have an app that you can download if you want, that you can use in conjunction with this amplifier. It lets you access some more radio stations and all the like. I didn't really find much of a use for it. I mean, I need another app on my phone, like I need a bigger waist. I use Spotify and I can control the amplifier with my phone. It's just way easier. I do have a NAS drive. I rarely use it. I don't know. For me, it's a pain to organize all my music again and then stick it all onto the NAS drive. What I do normally now is I just load up a thumb drive full of music and I just stick that into the back of amplifiers. And if I want to have my own music library curated, then I do that. Just keep in mind for this that the maximum thumb drive size that this thing can take is 32 gigabytes, which that's a lot of music. I use this with the CXN V2 streamer, the Alva TT V2 turntable, and a whole bunch of speakers. I use the Monitor Audio Bronze 100, the Monitor Audio Silver 100, the Wharfdale Evo 4.2s, the Aperion Audio, I'm going to get this name wrong, aren't I? Veris 3 Concert Bookshelf speaker, and that's it. Oh, and the Monitor Audio Silver 500 speaker. Got it. That's what I used. The only reason I had the CXN V2 streamer plugged in is there's an internet radio station that I'm a bit addicted to. It's like, I think it's WMBX from Chicago or 104.5, one of those things. And it's like 80s and 90s club mix, like all day long. So like on any period during the day, it's either an 80s mix or a 90s R&B thing or funk and soul or just house music. Like, it's just like, it's an instant go-to if I'm cooking or something. And for whatever reason, I can only find this station on the CXN V2. I couldn't find it with any Blue Sound products. I can't find it on the Rotel product. I'm at a loss. Like, for that streaming station alone is the only reason that I put the CXN V2 above all streamers, because I can't find that station on anything else. Now, as I get into this review, don't get me wrong, I really like this amplifier. I think it sounds really good. In fact, if I'm pulling from my poor memory, I feel like it sounds exactly the same as the A14 Mark II. The A14 had a big, muscular sounding presentation. Everything was crisp and clear, really huge soundstage. And the S14 follows suit. It's weird that it doesn't have a phono stage. I mean, this is, I get it, the streaming amplifier, but if this is an all-in-one product, omitting a phono stage didn't make any sense in my view. I didn't have a big issue because I had the Alva TT on hand, and that has an internal phono stage, so I can just use that. But then that takes up the analog input on this amplifier, and if you have anything else that requires an analog input, you're SOL. What I did first was play music right off my MacBook Pro, and to be honest, that experience was really nice, and it was a good chance for me to just run through a whole bunch of music while I was working, and having the USB input on the back, while not like an uncommon thing, was really nice in this instance, and it was a great first listen to this amplifier. This amplifier goes head-to-head with the Cambridge Audio CXA81, and if I'm being honest, in some instances, it trumped that amplifier. Number one, it has tone controls, and so that means I can augment the sound to my liking, and I don't really have to worry about speaker pairings, where if one speaker is a bit too bright, I can just kind of turn down the treble. If it's lacking a little bit of a bass, I can just turn it up. The S14 has a nice big open sound stage, big powerful muscular delivery. There isn't a lot of roll-off depending on your speaker pairing at the highs, and you have plenty of grunt down below in the bass. It's just an altogether great sound, and it sounds, when EQ'd flat, very similar to the CXA81. Pairing this with the Bronze 100 from Monitor Audio, that is an 8-inch driver woofer speaker with a really nice treble unit. I find personally that the Monitor Audio Bronze 100 and Silver 100 come a little bit hot on the treble for my liking, and so having an amplifier where I can just nudge down the treble a little bit to make it a little bit more palatable to my ears, it's always beneficial. And because it's an 8-inch driver speaker, you get a lot of bass and low-end energy, and paired with this amplifier, it's really a match made in heaven. Voices are natural. If you're listening to a lot of ambient music, it's really, really expansive and enveloping. It's great. Playing the Everywhere I Go remix from Cyclone from way back in the day, is a treat on this amplifier and the Bronze 100s. It's a really complex, I guess, track in that it's a drum and bass track with a live saxophone played on top. And so you have like the musicality plus the bass, plus the drums and plus the effects. It sounds really, really good. I found that the Bronze 100 had a lot of definition up top and brought like that mid-range and the bass together really, really well. There's a lot going on, and I didn't feel like I was losing out in any clarity really with the Bronze 100 and the S14, where like it conveyed everything that I was used to hearing. It just felt like maybe the mid-range just kind of like wasn't as present as it should be. And this track sounds better when you have a sub in play. And adding a subwoofer to the mix, I used my B&W 610 just to kind of fill in that lower region, just smashes, and it sounds really, really good. I do wish that there was some sort of bass management or something in this amplifier where I could set like an appropriate cutoff and like have the low end send to the bass and then have maybe the upper bass into the mids go into the speaker and then maybe get a bit more of that mid-range clarity back. With the same track in play, I switched over to the Veris 3 from Empyrean Audio, and I got a bigger soundstage. Like the speaker just feels bigger and there's a bit more oomph there as well. But I did have the same sort of feeling where I wished that I could maybe send a bit of that bass energy away and then have a bit more mid-range clarity. It was with the Wharfedale Evo 4.2 that I actually got what I was looking for. I mean, it's a 3-driver speaker, so treble, mid, and bass. The mids were able to shine. The bass was able to just handle bass. Having a sub just kind of fill in that lower region is really beneficial. Or having those frequency ranges separated and then conveyed to you properly just feels a lot better. The Silver 500s from Honor Audio were a bit of a step up in that they're a bigger speaker overall. And just like with the Cambridge Audio CXA81, when I had those speakers connected to it, it was sufficient enough power to drive those speakers, though I felt like a more robust amplifier would be able to get more out of those speakers. Though those speakers do have a separate mid-range driver unit and 2 bass drivers. So yes, you were able to get more bass out of those speakers, and you were able to, well, I was able to not have a subwoofer connected if I didn't want it, which I didn't do. And I also had that mid-range clarity that I was missing so much in the other speakers. Moving over to figure out the name from Holston, I actually, in this instance, switched over to the B&W 685s there behind me and paired those with the 610 sub. I have a heart for those speakers. I think they sound great with everything. And surprise, surprise, sounded really, really good on that amplifier. And I think maybe it's the fact that it has a 6.5-inch driver versus an 8, that the mids were a bit sweeter, a bit more forward, a bit more present in the mix. And then the bass just was all in sub. And I felt like that sounded really good. Moving over to the Silver 100s from Honor Audio. I mean, again, it's a bigger speaker overall. It's got bigger drivers. And you notice the immediate enlarging or expanding of your soundstage. And those drivers are just so much faster than the B&W 685s. I mean, it's a newer speaker. With transient response, that speaker just stops and starts on a dime. It sounds so much cleaner than the 685s. So there's a $500 US gap between the A14 and the S14. And for that $500, you get all the streaming functionality. And I don't guess that that's cheap to implement in an amplifier. I get that there are costs there, but with that $500, you are also omitting a few inputs and a phono input, which makes this a bit of a curious question. Like, do you get the integrated amplifier that you can plug a streaming module into for potentially less than $500 or $500? Or do you get the all-in-one one? But given the price point of this product, like, it's not an entry-level product. Like, if they took the streaming functionality and they dumped it into like the A10 and then they made that an all-in-one, then I can maybe see why you would take out some of the functionality, because, you know, it's a lower spec product. Maybe the the consumer at that price point might be looking for, hey, I need an all-in-one. What does everything? Put it in one of those products. But at this price point, like $2,000 for an integrated amplifier, and then $2,500 for a streamer, it begs a question as to like, is this enough? But fortunately, it sounds good. And the things that it does really well. And if you like the Rotel sound, you're going to like this product. And if you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. I'd really appreciate it.